2, 1.
Tell me a little bit about yourself, Robbie.
Well, my name's Robbie Bland. I'm from Texas. I'm a giant nerd. I collect action figures. I make stop motion videos on YouTube. I like film. I want to be a director when I grow up, but not for stop motion. I'll direct anything, but stop motion isn't what I want to be a career in. I'm extremely sarcastic. I'm going to go to University of Texas at Austin and study radio, television, and film for my major. This is my crib. I make videos in here. What else do you want me to say about myself? I'm in a podcast with my best friend. We're the Spaz Out Podcast. Subscribe to that. Anything else you want to hear about me? I have a cat. I have 2 parents and 2 siblings, a brother and a sister. Howdy, I'm Robbie Bland. I'm number 7 in my class.
Now I want you to read the poem, like say the title of the poem, who's it by, and read it.
Oh, I don't have that pulled up.
I got it. I'll send it.
Cool, you're already more prepared than I am.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read it off of my phone. I don't know how that's gonna look.
I mean, it's okay if you're reading it off your phone.
Oh hey, that's actually the website I normally send to people when I send them my favorite poem. Alright. My favorite poem is The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. And it goes like this. 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both, and be one traveler long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that, the passing there had warned them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay, in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. And that's my favorite poem, by Robert Frost. I guess you want me to tell you why I like this poem and where I found this poem?
Well, I'm gonna say the question so at least it makes sense, as you're just not rambling kind of thing.
Yeah, I just rambled earlier with no direction.
Yeah, it's okay. I'll edit that so it sounds nicer.
Good luck editing that. I said 100 times.
It's okay. It's I could just do the YouTuber style where it's just you can obviously see just a cut and paste kind of thing where they just cut shit out.
Yeah. Hey guys!
I actually put this as one of the questions, but I was like, this being your favorite poem doesn't have to do with the fact that you and the poet share the name Robert, does it?
Well, while my legal name is Robert, I go by Robbie just about everywhere, so I guess you could say there's a little bit of a connection that we share the first name, but that's not how I relate to the poem or what drew me to the poem in the first place. That's just more of a coincidence kind of thing.
How did you come across this poem?
I can't say exactly where I first saw it. I can list a few potential places. It had to have happened in junior high, and it was either a poem that we read in class, or it was a poem that was up on the wall. Teachers usually have, those giant posters with, a fancy little image and a few quotes from a poem on there, and I had read it and it stuck with me. One or the other or both, but when I read it, it's the line that I took the road less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. That really sticks with me. And I like to live my life in that kind of manner where I want to take new paths and do new things and make a difference in the world by making decisions that are different than what other people might make in their life. Hence why I'm pursuing a film degree instead of, something that's actually going to be useful.
So you said the line, I took the one less traveled by.
And that has made all the difference.
So that was the main line that attracted you to this poem.
Yes. And actually, I use that line almost in my daily life as kind of a word of advice that's thinly veiled as a poem. Like when people are talking about going one way or the other, I say, take the road less traveled by. It makes all the difference. That's something I actually said just the other day to someone.
So how often do you think about this poem? I know you say you think about it almost on a daily basis, but do you ever think about the entirety of it?
No.
Or something like that?
I usually don't remember the entirety of it. That's kind of why I stumbled through the beginning there. Really, it's just the whole last stanza, and I think that's the way the poem is designed anyways. The rest of it is just setting up the situation of he's looking down one path and looking at how trodden it is, how many people have walked down it, and he looks down the other and he sees that not many people have taken it, and he's like, well, that's a sight that barely anyone's ever seen. I want to see that for myself. But it really is the last stanza that stands out to me and that I kind of added to my philosophy in life almost. I don't obsessively think about the poem every day. I'm not like, take the road less traveled by all the time, but it is something that's kind of just part of my daily life almost. Like something as basic as when I go to the store, I don't park in front of the store where everyone else would. I usually park in the back, or I go to the back of the lot just so that I can walk to the store, because that's something that most people don't do. Or like, take the scenic route is essentially also a way to apply that, I guess.
Aside from those, are there any other ways that the poem applies to your life, or have you applied the poem to your life?
So many, plenty. Like I said, I'm choosing to pursue my passion in filmmaking as opposed to anything else, which I could do something else. I could go into the STEM fields. I'm very talented with math and science and all of that, but I'm not interested in those fields so much as I am in art and storytelling and the way to visually tell a story through a film. And so in a way that's taking the road less traveled by, because they want you to go into STEM, and I'm pursuing something different than that. Even, as I said, sometimes it comes down to more daily things in life, like let's say going home from school every day, there's a certain route you take, it's the fastest route, and you do that every day. Well, sometimes I take a different route. I take the longer route, the route that I travel by less, just to change things up and have a different experience almost. Even in school, sometimes I take the long way to class because I know I can make it. And it makes a difference because you're seeing different sights and you're probably interacting with different people and you're doing something different than you might normally do or what other people might normally do. So yeah, that's kind of it. There's like a bunch of examples. I can't summon every single one at the moment.
So like, main question, I know we've been kind of beating around the bush or just centering it, so why is this your favorite poem?
I think I've kind of said that already, and that it just stood out to me, and I think there's something important about not following the crowd and not going the same way as everyone else, but making your own path, going your own way is essentially what the poem at its core is about. And just taking a new interest and trying new things, because that's what he did in the poem, is he took the road less traveled by. And maybe he regrets not following the path everyone else did, but he took a chance and he thinks that it's made a difference in his life. And I think that in my everyday life, I take chances and I do things my own way, in a different way than what other people might do. And that's just why it's my favorite poem. And just the line, take the road less traveled by, it makes all the difference, is something I say very often, and it's something that just sticks with me. It's like describing your favorite color. It's just something about it stuck out to you, and that's just the way it is, you know?
Okay.
I'm rambling a lot. It's because I'm talking to a camera.
The rambling is good. I need to make this like 5 to 7 minutes.
Well, you're welcome. How long have we been going?
Yeah. Why do you think I chose you?
I do like to talk about myself.
Yeah.
It's easier to talk about yourself when you're talking to another person in the room. It's hard to do when you're talking to a camera.
You know, your ego is just as big as Kanye West, if not bigger.
Is this part of the interview, or is this going to end up getting cut out? Because I don't know. I think I'm a little more grounded than Mr. West is, only because I don't have near as much money as him.
But when you do,
if you want to see someone who has an ego comparable to Kanye West, you should see my best friend Caleb King, who I co-host with on the Spaz Out podcast. I'm
definitely cutting this out.
That's a kid who can compare right there.
Okay, this is actually the last question I have written down, and what I could only think of. How did you feel about me asking you or choosing you to do this project with?
Well, if we can do a bit of a history lesson, Leeanne, you've been my friend since freshman year. It's not weird for us to talk about what our favorite things are or what things mean to us. It's something we do relatively often. We exchange philosophy and our own mindsets to grow from each other and learn from each other. And so, while it was strange just because it's like, came out of nowhere, hey, what's your favorite poem? While I was at a party with some friends, I was like, this one, The Road Less Taken. Why? Why do you ask? And you said it's for a school project, and so I signed right up because I want to help you out, and like has been said already, I like talking about myself. Even if it's a little rambly sometimes, I still think I'm trying to make a point. So how did I feel? I felt fine, I guess. I was ready to do it. No hesitation. I actually sent you the poem before we even did this, so.
That's all I have for questions.
All right.
If there's any other way you could, like, drag this out, I don't mind cutting things out. I just want to make sure I have enough material to make 5 minutes of this.
Well, what else is there to talk about? What sticks out to you in the poem? Let's have a discussion. Mm-hmm. What sticks out to you in the poem? Let's have a discussion.
What stuck out to me was probably reading it, I'm not surprised why you're so attracted to this poem, or this being your favorite poem, especially when the part that you highlight, I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. That definitely stood out to me as that is what Robbie is.
That is what I am. That is who I am. I mean, even in my daily life, I make a point to be an individual and to be myself instead of following the trends of the crowd. Like, this jacket that I'm wearing right now is kind of part of my iconography almost, because I wear it almost every day and people recognize me. Hey, that's the kid with the Captain America jacket. Even my hairdo, my facial hair, my sideburns. It's all things that I...
Infamous sideburns since freshman year.
It's all things that I grew out for myself and that I developed myself to be my own person. And I didn't do it solely to be unique. I like my jacket. I like my hair the way it is. I grew it out this way, and this is the way I liked it. And,
yeah, you didn't come across as, like, one of those, like, kids that want to be quirky for the sake of being quirky.
Yeah.
You were just
It's not a gimmick for the sake of being a gimmick. I am the way I am because I want to be the way I am. And it's not to stand out, but I do stand out.
Yeah.
And in doing that, I am kind of my own character, and I've taken the road less traveled by. And it makes all the difference in my life.
Been. It's probably part of the reason why I was so attracted to you to be your friend in the first place, because I was like, this guy's really different from every other person I've met. What can I do to be this guy's friend? Because he's really smart. He's also really dorky and nerdy.
I am a giant nerd. I have a lot of action figures in my room that are currently not within the view of this camera. I have actually shelves lined up, but
thank God,
they're not in view right now. I think I've even taken this poem and extended it a little bit, in that in my life I have a rule that when you are invited to do when you get the opportunity to do something new and different than what you might normally do, you have to say yes and accept that invitation unless you have a really, really, really good reason to say no. And that has led me to be pursuing film, as I've mentioned 100 times before. It's also made me make friends with new people that I might have never talked to before, just because the opportunity opened up one day to talk to them and get to know them and to converse with them. It also got me signed up for a few trips here and there where I'm going to a completely new place. Just this summer.
You're going to Europe this summer, right?
This summer I'm going to Europe. I'm going to go into Spain, France, and the Swiss Alps. And the school invited me to do it because I'm top of my class. And it was an opportunity that I had the chance to take, and I couldn't think of a good enough reason to say no other than the money, which I could afford, as much as I didn't want to pay for it. And so, yeah, this summer I will be going to Europe because, not wholly because of this poem, but partly because I adapted it to fit my own lifestyle. Another thing that happened just this year is there was a foreign exchange program with China where I got to have a China buddy live with me for a week in my home. And the school offered me to do it because, again, I'm top of my class. And they were like, hey, it's an exciting experience. And I was nervous, but I said yes. And he got to sleep in my bed. I slept on an air mattress for a week. And in getting to have this stranger in my house and get to talk to him and learn from him, I think I bonded with him in just a week even deeper than I have with some of my own friends. And it was an interesting experience that I learned a lot from, and that I know he learned a lot from. And so, really, all in all, in life, just take the road less traveled by and make a difference, really. And when an opportunity comes your way, when you see a path that hasn't been taken before, be a trailblazer and take it, and see where you end up.
So you see an open door to a white van, and there's a man with a big bag of candy.
Well, in that case, you have a really good reason to say no, because some other kids have taken that path before, and they ended up getting you-know-what. So,
yeah, they got
obviously be cautious. Obviously be cautious and use critical thinking in your life. Don't walk off a cliff or anything. That's not what I'm endorsing. As happened in the poem, Robert Frost looked down both paths before he picked one. He didn't blindly pick a path. He looked down both paths to see what they offered him in the immediate future. And he saw one that was less taken, and so he took the chance.
I'm just saying, usually the opportunity isn't taken if there's like a dude in an alley and he like shows you what's in his jacket.
Don't talk to the dudes in the alleys who have that, thick jacket and that they're hiding something, and don't talk to them. You're smarter than that. You have a really good reason to say no.
It says it's the good stuff. I don't know.
Just because he says it's the good stuff doesn't mean it's actually good for you. It's probably an addictive substance that he's going to try to get you hooked on, and then he's going to take all your money, then you're going to go to jail. People have lived that life, people have taken that path, and you know where they ended up.
Okay, that's like 10 minutes worth, and I can condense that definitely into like 5 or 7.
Right. I think I closed it out earlier, and then you kept it going, but
it's okay.
If you
I
want
can just work with it.
If you want to close it out again, maybe you should do the honors instead of me. This has been
Thank you.
Robbie Bland, Mr. All That.
Mr. All.
Subscribe to Bland Clan videos on YouTube. I make stop motion animation
I
sometimes.
should put in your Mr. All That footage in it.
I think that'd be great because that was also
Because you talked
taking a
about
chance.
taking new opportunities that you've never. I should put it in like when you're saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I chose to take new opportunities, and it's just you like walking out shirtless, like, showing off your dad bod.
I know, that took some courage, didn't it?
Yeah.
Some dudes
Took some balls.
some dudes kept their shirts on. I went out and belly blazing.
You went all out.
Because I am Mr. All That.
Okay, yeah, that'll work. So do you still want to, like, do you want to see